Report. Council to order, May 26th, 2025, at 7:01 p.m. I'd like to acknowledge that we are on Treaty 5 territory, ancestral land of the Nitchishaway Cree Nation, homeland of the Métis. We respect the spirit and intent of the treaties and treaty making and remain committed to working in partnership with all First Nations, Inuit and Métis people in the spirit of truth, reconciliation and collaboration. Next, we'd like approval of the agenda. Councillor Watts.
Madam Mayor, I have something to say.
Pardon?
I'm wondering why the Deputy Mayor moving my resolution. I hope he's supporting that resolution. Thank you. My second reading, appeal the bylaw. It's supposed to be my bylaw, I should be moving. But Deputy Mayor moving my bylaw. I'm wondering, is he going to support the bylaw?
I can erase my name off the bylaw. If
Thank you.
would like to sponsor it, sir. I don't have an issue with that.
Wrong. I just want to point it out.
So are you approving the agenda?
It's okay, he can move it, as long as he's supporting, thank you.
Okay, approved by Councillor Watts, seconded by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, all in favor? Carried. Go to adoption of minutes. First set of minutes are from the public hearing for bylaw 2045, 2025 zoning bylaw amendment. Quick move. Resolution 2025-083, moved by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, seconded by Councillor McIver. Be it resolved that minutes of the public hearing for bylaw 2045, 2025 held in Council Chambers, City Hall, Thompson, Manitoba, on Monday, May 12th, 2025, be adopted as circulated. Administration. Nothing further. Oh, Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, any comments?
Nothing further.
Any other comments from council? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. Four point two is adoption minutes for regular meeting of council, May 12th, 2025. Resolution 2025-084, moved by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, seconded by Councillor McIver. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held in Council Chambers, City Hall, Thompson, Manitoba, on May the 12th, 2025, be adopted as circulated. Administration. Nothing further.
Nothing further.
Deputy Mayor. Are there other comments from council? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. 4.3 is adoption of minutes for committee of the whole meeting, May 20th. Resolution 2025-085, moved by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, seconded by Councillor McIver. Be it resolved that the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting of council held in Council Chamber, City Hall, Thompson, Manitoba, on Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, be adopted as circulated. Administration, nothing further. Deputy Mayor,
Nothing further.
any other council comments? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. Thanks for moving into resolutions. 5.1 is a resolution to approve the transfer of unpaid water and sewer utility invoices to property taxes. Resolution 2025-086, moved by Councillor Valentino, second by Councillor Saw. Whereas the Municipal Act, Section 252(2) states that a charge referred to in Clause 1A may be collected by the municipality in the same manner as a tax may be collected or enforced under the act. And whereas clause 1A deals with the powers respecting work, services, and utility states. 2521, a municipality exercising powers in the nature of those referred to in clause 252B and C, and may set terms and conditions in respect of uses, including setting the rates or amounts of deposits, fees, and other charges, and charging and collecting them. And whereas the city of Thompson has been unsuccessful in attempts to collect the water and sewer utility revenue, now therefore be it resolved that council approve the transfer of unpaid water and sewer utility invoices to property taxes rolls applicable to the service. Administration, Lynn?
Thank you, Your Worship. The agenda also contains a memorandum from me, which outlines the process. The finance and utility staff have attempted to, through normal process, notification to these people that their utilities are in arrears. They get a 30-day, 60-day, and 90-day notice. We mailed out information to all the people in arrears that were in arrears to the end of December last year. There were a total of 1,500 letters going out to people in arrears, and they were given to June the 13th to pay the utility bill or make payment arrangements with us. Otherwise, approval of this resolution would be adding outstanding amounts to their utility accounts.
Thank you. Councilor Valentino, comment?
Thank you, Ms. Nook. I'll be supporting this. This is something we see once a year as almost like a housekeeping thing, unfortunately. But do commend CFO Taylor and the staff. This is a tremendous amount of time and resources. So appreciate the amount that have been brought up to date and the amount that effort goes into notifying everybody. So I'll be supporting it.
Thank you. Other councilors, comments? Councilor Wong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I cannot support this resolution due to there's still a lot of outstanding amount that is unjustified by the administration due to the meter malfunction. And some of the amount is not even clarified. I give you a good example about myself. I have a meter got malfunction, so I asked the city to replace a new meter. So this has been going on almost 2 years now. After I got the new meter replaced, and the city still send me an estimate till today. So I'm wondering, how can the public trust the meter working? Because my case is the same as a lot of people out there, but a lot of people don't know how to do that. I do. So I just want to use myself as an example. Until today, I asked the administration, do they know what was my meter reading at the end of my old meter? They have no clue. And they don't even have a clue of my new meter, what's a new meeting, the reading. So how can I support this? Until we solve the problem, I have no problem. That's why I keep saying, Madam Mayor, we need to build the trust and the confidence of the public. That's why I cannot support. Normally I do support because it's a bylaw, which is set by us. I get that. But because of my case, I did it on purpose. I want to experiment this. So in my own case, so I cannot support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council comment? Okay. Seeing none, call the question.
Councilor South here.
Thank you. I will be supporting this, but I will say one thing, just forward to what Councilor Wong had mentioned. This has been going on for a very, very long time. We've been discussing the issues with the utility for, I was saying, 12 to 10 years now. I remember when I was on council when it was first introduced. Back in 2008, 2009, back now. So the challenge we have right now is that this seems to be an ongoing issue. There is a lack of trust. I will agree with that in regards at times to how accurate the news are. In saying that, I do agree though that is a process we have to go through, but I would say that this thing has to be addressed because it's been dragging on for years and years, you know, during this full term of this council, I would guess. And nothing's been done so far, so nothing material that I'm aware of, okay? So, it has to be addressed, sooner than later, but I say I will be supporting this, thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Chong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm not to support this water bill going to the property tax for the simple reason. If the apartment owner or the rental unit and the tenant run up a whole water bill and unpaid, end up the homeowner have to suffer and roll into the property tax, which is very unfair. Because they have a good system. Otherwise, I'm not supporting it. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hey, I'm gonna make a couple comments. Councillor Wong?
Thank you, madam. Record of vote, please.
Thank you. I just want to say a couple things. The homeowner has, the ability to make sure they have, the water bills, come, to their address also besides just the tenants. So that gives them the ability to monitor their water meters. And I know there's been issues, I won't deny that. But we have got a utility department that we're setting up and, our utility clerk that was here up until a couple weeks ago had addressed a lot of the situations. And they are working, and the people that they're working with, I have been told that they weren't, you know, they were working with them still, that they wouldn't necessarily be going to tax sales. So, maybe, the city had felt they were resolved, so with that, they should be coming back to us. With that, I call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Oh, recorded vote. In favor, got Councillor McIver, Mayor Smoot, Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, Councillor Valentino, Councillor Soft, were you in favor? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. Opposed, got Councillor Chong and Councillor Wong. It is carried. Thank you. Five point two, it's a resolution to designate 2023 a tax sale year. Resolution 2025-087, moved by Councillor Wong, second by Councillor Chong. Whereas section 365(2) of the Municipal Act provides that the council may in any year designate the immediately percentage or preceding year or any other earlier year as the year for the which properties the taxes in respect to which they are arrears of the year must be offered for sale by auction to recover the tax arrears and costs. Be it resolved that the designated year for which property in arrears be offered for sale by auction be 2022, meaning property taxes with outstanding taxes as of 2023 or prior. Administration.
Thank you. We started the process, the tax sale for tax sale and notified people in January and have been working in the department with people since then. The original list had 147 properties that were qualified for tax sale and been able to ameliorate that down to 53. We're still working with people. At the end of May, we will be turning files over to tax service, who has been contracted by the city for the last number of years to proceed with the legal process to get to the auction. This simply is a resolution that's required to designate the year of 2023 as the year that we would be collecting taxes for 28 years, or 23 and 24 through the auction process.
Thank you very much. Just before I go to council for comments, I was remiss in giving regrets. We got regrets from Councillor Orfordorfer. Councillor Lundmark is still on his leave. And our CAO, Anthony McGinnis, is busy at the command center with the wildfires. They're doing some reporting right between 7 and 8:30 tonight. So thank you. With that, on this resolution, I'll go to Councillor Wong as mover.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know this is not an easy job, and thank you, CFO, to spend all the time to take care of this business. That's just a curiosity, like, are we getting more tax sale compared to last year? I can't remember that. Last year, what was the number?
Last year, we started over with 187, and when we actually got to the auction, we had 6 properties.
So this year you're down to 147, but you managed to get 94, and you still have 53 remaining.
Right.
So compared to last year, you had higher tax sale than last year.
We had higher going into it, but through working with the people and then tax service working with them also, we were able to either have payment received of the arrears, or we made payment arrangements with people so that they could pay it off over a period of time.
Yeah, thank you, Madam.
Any other comments from council? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Very good. Five point three is a resolution to approve the Arctic Beverages contract amendment. Resolution 2025-088, moved by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, seconded by Councillor McIver. Whereas on September 11th, 2023, Council passed resolution number 2023-114, authorizing the City of Thompson to enter into a 5-year product exclusivity agreement with Arctic Beverages LP on September 1st, 2023 for the exclusive sale of Pepsi product at the city-owned facilities. And whereas the agreement included Arctic Beverages' commitment to providing a lighting system for the CA Nesbitt Arena, a multi-use scoreboard and basketball shot clock for Bill Kamaski Wellness Center Gymnasium. And whereas the cost of the gymnasium equipment has increased beyond the originally outlined amount since the signing of the agreement. And whereas Arctic Beverages has requested an amendment to the agreement to reflect the updated investment and a corresponding extension to the agreement term. Now therefore be it resolved, the council authorize administration to enter into a revised agreement with Arctic Beverages LP to update the agreement value from $52,750 to $72,800, and amend the agreement term from July 1st, 2022 to July 15th, 2027 to June 1st, 2025 to May 31st, 2030. Administration?
Nothing further to the memo or the discussion held at last committee of the whole.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick as a mover.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. This is a good deal there. It's a $20,000 increase over the last contract, so obviously, I mean, it's
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Valentino.
Thanks very much. This is good and good on Arctic Beverages to be able to come to the table to help cover the increased costs, and they're a good corporate person for us at the TRCC with coming to the table and off. They are the ones that initiated even becoming like a sponsor down there. And I know that I did have the opportunity to meet with them in Winnipeg, and they want to possibly maybe even expand more into what they support us with. And if you know, it's worth checking out this company. It's pretty good. They're Indigenous owned and they're massive in northern Manitoba and northern Ontario. And I just appreciate what they're doing here at the TRCC. So yeah, I'm definitely supporting.
Thank you. Any other councillors comments? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. 5.4 is a resolution for AMM to lobby the province to undertake a comprehensive review and modernization of the Mental Health Act. Resolution 2025-089, moved by Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, seconded by Councillor Touton. Whereas Manitoba's Mental Health Act has not been significantly updated in many years and no longer reflects practices in mental health care, crisis intervention, or public safety coordination. And whereas the Act places a disproportionate burden on the RCMP and municipal police services, requiring officers to apprehend, transport, and remain with individuals in mental health cases, often to the extended periods in extended periods in emergency departments or psychiatric facilities. And whereas the rising number of mental health calls is straining police resources across Manitoba, limiting capacity to respond to other public safety issues, and placing police in roles more appropriately filled by healthcare or crisis response professionals. And whereas other provinces have implemented more modern and flexible approaches that include mobile crisis teams, mental health transportation alternatives, and co-respondent models that relieve pressure on law enforcement while improving the outcome for the individuals in crisis. And whereas recent amendments to the Mental Health Act and the Police Services Act have introduced institutional safety officers who may provide support and mental health response with designated facilities, but their deployment remains limited and further integration is needed to maximize the effectiveness and reduce the strain on police resources. Therefore, be it resolved that the Association of Manitoba Municipalities lobby the province of Manitoba to undertake a comprehensive review and modernization of the Mental Health Act in consultation with municipalities, law enforcement agencies, health authorities, and Indigenous leadership. And further be it resolved that AMM advocate for the following legislative and operational improvements. 1, establish and fund mobile crisis response teams across Manitoba staffed by trained mental health professionals and or paramedics to respond to nonviolent mental health emergencies, reducing the need for police intervention. 2, develop a province-wide mental health patient transportation service that can be deployed in place of police officers for non-criminal health-based apprehensions and transfer. 3, limit the requirements for police officers to remain at health facilities with individuals in custody once the facility has assumed care and no public safety risk exists. 4, enable the use of virtual psychiatric assessments, telepsychiatry, as a mandatory step prior to transportation individuals, particularly youth from rural and northern communities to urban psychiatric facilities to ensure that hospitalization is clinically necessary and to reduce avoidable transfers. 5, create regional crisis stabilization units where individuals can be taken for assessment and care outside of the emergency departments, helping to divert non-emergent cases from hospitals. 6, expand mental health support programs in rural and northern communities, ensuring access to timely assessments and care without over-reliance on RCMP transport. 7, invest in community-based supports and prevention mental health to review the number of crisis intervention required. Further, be it resolved that the province work with partners to ensure legislative changes are accompanied but to appropriate funding, training, and infrastructure development, so municipalities are not left to shoulder additional costs or responsibilities alone. Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick is a mover. Do you have any comments?
Nothing for there.
Administration?
Just that if this resolution is passed, it'll be forwarded to the AMM for discussion at the upcoming Northern June District meeting.
Any other councillors law?
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for the resolution meeting. You know, right now, Manitoba has a higher than average occurrence of mental health issues, higher than the rest of Canada. We also have 4 times the rate of suicides when it comes to Indigenous young people. We have a mental health issue, a real increasing issue going on. I'm very glad that, you know, this act is being looked at, because even if you leave out the specifics about the RCP and so on, it's an act that has not been working for Manitoba for a long time. I'm just, you know, disappointed it took this long to really bring this to the forefront. But if you look at what a lot of organizations doing, Valley just Friday, they're going to be sponsoring the Defeat Depression Walk. Starting at 12 noon. There's a lot of organizations that are recognizing we have a real problem on our hands. So my hope is that this is well supported at AMM, and that it's also well supported by the province, both provincial and federally. Because there needs to be more resources brought to the table. It needs to be more focused, more efficient. There's a lot that has to be done. I cannot comment on every specific thing that's being put forward here, but I do know that the discussion has to happen. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, councillors? This is definitely a resolution that needs to pass at AMM, which I am sure it is. And I would like to thank Dawson for including us, the more municipalities that they get together on a resolution and support it, the better it is. Thank you. Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. Five point five. Better short resolution here. It's a resolution for AMM to lobby the province of Manitoba to develop and implement a comprehensive radon action strategy. Also, Dauphin has reached out to us on this. Resolution 2025-090, moved by Councillor Saw, second by Councillor Valentino. Whereas radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas that comes from the soil and enters homes and buildings as a carcinogen that causes more than 3,200 deaths per year in Canada. And whereas non-smokers who have high levels of radon in their homes over their lifetime have a 1 in 20 chance of developing lung cancer, for smokers the risk is 1 in 3. And whereas the data from Health Canada shows that Manitoba has some of the highest indoor radon levels in Canada, with approximately 1 in 4 homes testing above the national guidelines of 200 becquerels per cubic meter, which highlights the urgent need to address radon levels in the homes, public buildings, and workplaces in our province. And whereas prolonged exposure to elevated radon levels poses a serious and preventable public health risk to Manitoba across all communities and housing types, and results in incalculable healthcare costs. And whereas many homeowners and tenants are unaware of the dangers of radon exposure, or lack the financial means to conduct testing and undertake mitigation to protect their health, which can range from $50 for a test kit to $3,000 or more for professional remediation. And therefore be it resolved that the Association of Manitoba Municipalities lobby the province of Manitoba to develop and implement a comprehensive radon action strategy that includes: 1, province-free or subsidized radon test kits to residents through public health agencies, schools, and libraries. 2, establish a provincial grant or rebate program to assist the homeowners and landlords with the costs associated with radon testing and mitigation, prioritizing low and moderate income households. 3, introduce a Manitoba radon mitigation tax credit, allowing residents to claim a percentage of certified radon mitigation expenses, making mitigation more affordable and accessible. 4, requiring regular radon testing in schools, childcare centers, social housing units with results made publicly available. And mitigation efforts undertaken where necessary to protect vulnerable populations. 5, updating the Residential Tenancies Act to mandate radon testing and disclosure in rental properties, ensuring landlords address elevated radon levels to safeguard tenants' health. 6, collaborate with stakeholders to include radon mitigation measures in new home warranty programs, ensuring the new constructions meet radon safety standards, and provide recourse for homeowners if elevated levels are detected. 7, exploring regulatory changes to require radon testing and disclosure during real estate transactions and/or rental properties. 8, revising the Manitoba Building Code to assess the effectiveness of radon control standards and incorporate more protective measures from CAN's CGSB 14911-2024, particularly in high-risk areas to prevent radon infiltration from the outset. 9, launching comprehensive education initiatives to inform Manitobans about health risks of radon, the importance of testing, and the availability of resource for mitigation. Further, be it resolved that AMM advocate for interdepartmental collaboration within the provincial government, engaging Manitoba Health, Manitoba Housing, and other relevant agencies, including the Manitoba Lung Association and Cancer Care Manitoba, to coordinate efforts and resources across the sectors to address radon exposure throughout Manitoba. Administrator.
Same goes with this resolution. If passed, it'll be forwarded to AMM.
Thank you. Councillor Saw, as mover, any comments? Okay. Any other comments from councillors? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Next, we're gonna go into bylaws. Bylaw 6.1 is second reading of bylaw 2048-2025, repealing bylaw for bylaw 2047-2025, using the organizational and procedure bylaw amendment. Yeah, is that Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick is a like to move to Councillor Wong as a mover?
Yes, it is, Mayor.
Thank you. Resolution 2025-091, moved by Councillor Wong, seconded by Councillor Chong. Be it resolved that bylaw 2048-2025 being a bylaw of the city of Thompson to repeal bylaw number 2047-2025 being the organizational procedure bylaw of the city of Thompson be given a second reading. Administration?
Nothing further.
Thank you. Councillor Wong is the mover.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Deputy Mayor, allowing me to do this.
You're absolutely.
I'm not gonna repeat what I said earlier, like first reading. I think somehow as a leader, we should be able to facing the challenge or any hard question, just like the animal called bison, when they have dangers, what they do, they face the problem, they not walk away. So by censoring people that are able to come up and talk, I think that's very bad way to do things. And Madam Mayor, I believe you can join me to let's do this right and able to let the people come out and speak freely beside the one what we want to do, which is the town hall. I absolutely in favor of adding those. And you look at the crowd, it's just not like nobody want to come. They just think somehow you're doing a good job, so they don't need to. When they see something that their right being threatened to take away, that's why they show up. So I'm not going to say much. I hope the rest of my colleagues will join me to make this right. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Comments, further comments? Councillor Shaw?
Thank you, and actually, I will repeat myself from the last meeting, because as I mentioned before, since come back onto council, this has probably been the major area of disappointment that I've experienced. And really, the major reason for it that it should not have come to this. I've heard all of the rationale as to why to take community feedback out, and I've gone through each of them, and I want to repeat each of them as well. I hope I haven't missed any, but the first one, as mentioned by Councillor Wong, about the whole idea of, we want to look at having these quarterly forums, and I've said before many times, this is not a mutually exclusive thing. We could continue having community feedback, and also by all means, have these quarterly forums. We had those during my second term of council. It worked well. They are good for some specific, more macro stuff, when we're talking about larger issues, not as much your day-to-day or week-to-week issues that come up, but I am in favor of having that as well. But once again, it should not be either or. It should be, we'll do both. The other thing that I've heard about is that the community feedback at times have not been used the way it should have been. But for everyone here who has seen the prior bylaw, they know that we had safeguards in place. If things were not going the way it should have been based on the requirements of the community feedback, council had more than the ability to shut down those types of discussion. The fact that they choose not to, and now we are saying that, well, things have gone wrong in the past, is not really a reflection on the people that were asking the questions. It's probably more of a reflection on whether why the chair was not enforcing some of the rules based on that old bylaw. The third thing that I heard about was we have the ability, or the next council, sorry, has the ability to bring this back if we find it doesn't work, whoever's on mayor and council. So my question then is that, with a year and a half left in this current council, why do it now? I mean, why would we, supposedly this what was an issue for the last, I don't know, 2.5, 3 years, if not prior. Why now? We have a year and a half to go in our mandate. We're about to have elections next year. Why do we pick on this thing now? Okay. The other thing that I would like to point out is that, as mentioned in my first comment. The forms and community feedback really serve two different things. The feedback is more intended, from what I've seen over the years, is for things that crop up during the week or during since the last council meeting. Is things that people want to get some immediate response about, rather than waiting for 2 months or 3 months. So, you know, by taking that away, it takes away that ability for residents to have that quick turnaround time. I understand that, yeah, they could go and write in the delegation. They can go through those steps, but the feedback really serve the purpose of having someone be able to readily access a vehicle where they could have a quick response. I know that it wasn't used as much as some people have said, and that's why they're questioning about why keep it. But, you know, we've had this for as long as I've known. I know that school district of Mystery Lake still has question period. I know some of my counselor colleagues have mentioned, well, it's not being done in other parts. You know, I really don't care what's not being done in other parts. I care more about what's going on here. And the reality is that the community feedback, the question period, is something that's been used for years. I personally do not agree with it being at the start of a meeting. I think, you know, if we are able to repeal this, I think a better approach would be to have question period back at the end of the meeting. So, you know, I am supporting this this resolution. I do want to also point out, and I was going through some of the commentary from the council members guidebook put out by AMM, and we know that the spirit of what is outlined under citizen engagement, it talks about trying to encourage citizen feedback and participation. It may not be a perfect tool, but it's another tool in the toolbox. Not one tool is going to be perfect. It's not going to be, it won't satisfy everyone's need. But when we're trying to encourage feedback from our residents, I think we need to have a number of different options for them. I think that's our job as elected officials, is to support that. So my hope is that, you know, we do have support to repeal this bylaw and to make it better. I would ask my fellow councillor colleagues to support that. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to make a comment. It is important for us to safeguard our democracy and the freedom of speech, which is to maintain the transparency and accountability of our council. And council is a very cultural and diverse community, and we need to restore the public trust and public confidence of our council. And I would like to encourage Madam Mayor and the rest of my colleagues to reconsider and restore this community comments and inquiry. And so as to uphold our integrity and make Thompson a unique and cohesive and united community, and also wish to make Thompson great and moving forward. Thank you very much.
Further comment? Councilor Robinson?
Thanks, President. So, like I wasn't at your strategic planning session, and I wasn't at the last meeting where you guys talked about this, so I really don't even know how it's gotten to this point, because when you as a council did your strategic planning session, February 18th and 19th, you guys all agreed to change this bylaw to remove community comments. And that was the consensus and the direction that you gave to administration at that time. So I struggle a little bit with how now it's kind of turned into them versus us, and when it was the direction, when you guys spent those 2 days together to look at something different, and you wanted to try and engage more with our community because we weren't doing that, and we are doing that by just having, you know, really one person at community comments isn't hearing from the public, and it's not us getting in front of the public. So I don't think we're particularly picking on this because it was a part of your 2 day session when you created your strategic plan. So, and you know, and kudos to administration, they followed the direction of council and went through the process to create this bylaw to the way it is. And I think that, why wouldn't you wanna try something now? Maybe it'll be a really good change, maybe it won't be. But if we don't try and change something to try and get in front of our community, because we're not doing it. We're not hearing from our community. We're not hearing from people. I've had nobody approach me about this. They approach me about Walmart and the music, but they don't approach me about this. So even when I see about, you know, council had reached out to CBC, and I think, wow, like, we could have leveraged that media for things that we need to be working on in our community. The public safety downtown, which is huge. And we're a good council, like we've got good council meetings, like it shouldn't be some kind of flipping that some of us are bad and we're taking away freedom of speech, and that's crazy. That was the direction of this council.
It's called dictatorship, communism.
Sit down, please,
I'm
sir.
leaving. I can't take it anymore.
This was the direction of
That's
this
just
council.
wrong. What
Your
you're doing
strategic
is
plan.
fucking wrong.
So I'm not gonna support this. I want us to try something new. I want us to get out in front of community, to people. I want to engage our youth. I want to try something different for the last year to see if we can do a better job, because we aren't doing a good job right now. So I'm not gonna support this here, Snook. And I just also want to talk about process. We can't have both, because we follow how we operate from our organizational procedural bylaw. So if both aren't in there, we can't do that. So if we repeal it, then we're starting from zero, then we'll have to change everything again. So we can't have both right now. When we say we still want the town halls and we want the community comments. Well, that should have been what was discussed 5 months ago. So as of right now, I won't be supporting this.
Thank you, Councillor Swan.
Yeah, thank you. You know what, I've heard this come up a few times, and all due respect to Councillor Valentino. I know that, you know, during the planning meeting, and it's been alluded all the time that, you know, this was discussed at the planning meeting, and this is what was decided. There is a process, as you know, that anything that's discussed in town meeting, it still has to go through those 3 readings. Okay, and that's what happened. There's a plan, there's discussions that happened. Yes, there was discussion on saying that we want to be able to engage the public more, okay? When we came to the first reading of the bylaw, and I'd like to remind everyone here that we said from the get-go on that first reading that we will support this first reading, but we do not want to have community feedback taken out. That we were in support of having both in there. So that was discussed even back then. So I just want to remind everyone that this is not something that's coming out of left field. We discussed this from day one when we had that first reading of the bylaw. Okay, and we've been consistent throughout those last few meetings, and now with this second reading now for repeal. I just have a real issue when it's at least hinted that councils seem to have agreed on one pass during our planning meeting, and then we seem to have flipped or whatever. Okay, in saying that, it's not an us versus them. You know, as a council, we're gonna have our disagreements. I disagree existing right now. It doesn't mean that I think people who don't agree with me are all bad. Okay, we disagree on this current thing right now. And my hope is that with the appeal, or with the repeal of it, that, yeah, I mean, we don't have to start from square one again. Seem to be focused on this one thing that we don't agree on. And that should be taken care of relatively fast. If we repeal this, we can just say, okay, if we want to continue having the community feedback in, what's the best way to do that? We don't have to start from square one again. So I just want my support by that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, I appreciate Councillor Valentino comment. First of all, I did not approach CBC. CBC caught the story. So he interested to have a write-up. That's why he approached me. So I want to make that clear. Number two, yes, we did have a meeting throughout that period of time. We did talk about take away this. We also talk about adding the town hall meeting. We also talking about we want to have a standing committee now. We don't want to be a committee at whole. We have so many discussions, but what is funny is this bylaw is only take away one thing out of the 10 things we talk about, which is the community feedback, right? So we spent a whole bunch of time to talk about how we're going to make it a good governing body, which is a lot of things we talk. Unfortunately, there's only one thing that take on it, is take away this public comment. The rest did not add it. Exactly what Councillor Shaw said, the first reading when you guys trying to put it on, I agree with that. I said, I want to see the changes. I want to see what is the second reading come back. But unfortunately, the second reading did not change anything except take away one thing, not adding the best part of the discussion, which is we want to start the standing committee, which is we should have our finance committee, we have a public work committee, those not even in the picture. So now, when we talk about we pick on one thing or you or me, this is not true. I'm not that type of person. I want to make it right. And he said not views. Look at what happened today. They don't simply just show up because of what. So anyway, Madam Mayor, I still bottom of my heart, I wish the rest of my council that willing to join me and repeal this and make it the better one, which is, again, we can do so many things with our united power. I think we can do a lot of great things for this city of Thompson. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Anyone else? Comments? Councillor Chong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think the community comment and inquiry is the best thing ever have happened to me. If they don't have the community comment and public inquiry, I wouldn't be sitting here today, because I am a very nervous person when I speak in public. So that gives me a chance to train myself to speak in front of all the people down here. Right? That was a training ground for young people, not only me. There are a lot of potential counselors in future. If they don't have a chance to train, how could they be a counselor? How could they have a chance to be elected, right? To represent the community. Now, if you want to take that away, in other words, we are not in this world forever. We are getting old. We are not going to be here one day. So we need young people. We need a replacement that to take over our job to run this city. Thank you very much, Mary.
Thank you. Any other councillors, comments? Basically, I was at that strategic planning meeting also when we discussed this. And yes, we did also talk about doing something possibly different in the committee of the whole. We didn't say we were totally going back to standing committees. We said that we realized there was things that we might want to change down the line. And again, we had talked about some of those things that would come up in budget and would likely be through there. So, but this was one of the things that passed. And if I would have had this kind of audience over the last 6 years, I would have never thought of getting rid of community comments. But an audience that's been here twice, if they continue again, for the next 3 to 6 months, I'd be more than happy to revisit it and see what we need to do. Again, as I said last time, the only one that had came up with comment was gentleman that has left and come up, and I said, you had not contacted me, said I didn't want to bother your breakfast. He still hasn't come and told me why we should keep community comment. Nobody has came to home. I had 3 of my fellow counselors, I will admit, they did their homework and they came to talk to me about it. But as for the public coming to talk to me about it, it has not happened. So we have talked about doing things different, so I am sorry to, whatever, I will not be changing my vote tonight. And if anybody else wants to speak from council, it was more than welcome. Seeing none, we'll call for the question.
Mayor, record a vote, please.
As per Councillor Wong's request, this will be in a recorded vote. So whoever wants to repeal the decision of community comments, by show of hands, is in favor of that. Councillor Wong, Councillor Saw, Councillor Chong.
Yes.
Who is not in favor of repealing this motion? Councillor McIver, Councillor Valentino, Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, and Mayor Smook. Does not pass.
Time for you to figure out why the hell people won't approach you, Colleen. Figure it out, you want.
They approach me about everything else.
No, they don't.
You say you have been.
Because you guys.
Okay, you can comment to council.
I'm gonna comment right now, because people have sent you texts and you have not responded. This is not a democracy, as the gentleman said earlier.
All you gotta do is lock the doors.
This is communism.
Just lock the doors.
Communism, just like Justin Trudeau, and that's why he got fucking boots.
Just lock your damn
Maybe
doors.
he used to be recalled too.
Moncton is becoming a true First Nation community where its members are being silenced. I'm very disappointed.
We're now going to 6.3. The second reading of bylaw 2049-2025, the open air burning bylaw.
Madam Mayor, can we table the second, third reading?
It doesn't go to a third reading if it didn't pass. Oh, you mean for the open air burning bylaw?
No.
After that, it did not pass, it does not go to third reading, right, Tammy?
That's correct.
Good strategy. Good work.
That's in the municipal act.
No, I'm okay with that.
Resolution 2025-093, moved by Councillor Wong, second by Councillor Chong. Be it resolved that bylaw 2049-2025 being a bylaw in the city of Thompson to amend the bylaw 1809-2009 being a bylaw to regulate open air burning within the limits of the city of Thompson be given a second reading. Administration,
Nothing further.
Councillor Wong is the mover.
Nothing further.
Other councillors, comments? Okay, seeing no other comments, I would like to just comment that definitely this is a very important bylaw with what's going on in our north right now. We've actually had most of the fires that are going are actually man-made, so for that. We actually had children started a fire in the area yesterday. And even people with the campsites, now there's a ban on it. And I've had comments that if enough of us don't listen to the ban, what are they gonna do with us? Well, there will be fines, there will be charges to the burning bylaw. We do not need, we've got Lynn Lake possibly on evacuation as we speak, got Cross Lake, Woboden, and even the fire is heading, in the vicinity of Setting Lake. And we've got Sheridan not far away and the Paw. So definitely the more power that we give to our fire chiefs and that to control the burning bylaw, the better it is. So seeing no further questions, Call for the question, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And as the second reading has passed, we will do a third reading on this tonight. So 6.4 is the third reading of bylaw 2025. And just for information, third readings of bylaw automatically get a recorded vote. So resolution 2024-094, moved by Councillor Chong, second by Councillor Wong. Be it resolved that bylaw 2049-2025 be given third and final reading, and that it now pass. Councillor Chong as the mover, administration.
Nothing further.
Councillor Chong is the mover, any comments?
If I can we table this third reading as we're gonna give Councillor Okotofer to have a chance to speak.
Are you making
She's not here.
that motion, table?
Yes. May I have the motion to table?
Okay,
Because
and when are you asking?
one, I'm gonna give Councillor Okotofer a chance to speak because she's supporting the resolution.
Tammy?
This is an open air burning bylaw.
No, I'm talking about that.
That one's already
Fine.
been
No,
taken
that one's
care of.
gone, been defeated.
Okay, then.
This is open air burning bylaw, sir.
Okay.
You don't wanna make a motion, that was okay?
Well, no.
Okay. Call for the question, all those in favor? Carried.
It's a recorded vote.
Sorry, recorded vote,
On what?
in favor,
Open air burning.
open air burning bylaw. Councillor McIver, Councillor Chong, Councillor Wong, Councillor Saw, Councillor Valentino, Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, Mayor Smith. It is carried. Seven point one. The proclamation. Earl proclamation.
Sure.
Whereas accessibility and inclusion are fundamental rights that empower individuals of all abilities to participate fully in society. And whereas Manitoba is committed to fostering a culture that supports people with disabilities through equitable access to education, employment, public spaces, and social opportunities. And whereas Easter Seals Red Shirt Day is an annual event that encourages Canadians to wear red in solidarity with persons with disabilities, advocating for a more accessible and inclusive country for all. And whereas this day serves as a powerful reminder of the ongoing work needed to remove barriers and champion equal opportunities for every individual. Now therefore, by the virtue of the authority invested in me as Mayor Thompson, I hereby proclaim May 28, 2025 as Red Shirt Day of Action for Inclusion and Accessibility in the City of Thompson. And I encourage all citizens to join in recognizing in this important day, raising awareness and taking meaningful action to promote accessible inclusion in their communities. Dated this 26th day of May, 2025. Pauline Smith here. Thank you. Any comments? It is definitely a very important day for our province, for our community, for our countries. All for adjournment? Deputy Mayor Fitzpatrick, Councillor Valentino, all in favor?
If it's not recording,